Hello and welcome to Old Ways Gardening and Prepping. My name is Teresa. I would like to welcome you each into the kitchen with me, where tonight we're going to be making biscotti. Yes, I said something about it, I believe, in live stream, and several showed interest in knowing how to make biscotti. Now, this is going to be a twofer video. This first video is going to be full throttle uh, espresso double chocolate hazelnut biscotti. This is for us coffee drinkers. Now, later this afternoon, there'll be a second biscotti video, and that's for my tea drinkers, the ones who don't drink coffee, which I'm fine with, because that just means more coffee for us. No, I'm joking. But this afternoon, second video will post, and it will be for the tea drinkers. Yes, you can make biscotti to enjoy with your tea as well. So, with that being said, let's have some fun and make this full throttle espresso double chocolate hazelnut biscotti. Whew, that's a mouthful, y'all. Okay, now, in this bowl, I done this to save time. I have a cup and 2/3 of all-purpose flour. Now, the full recipe will be in the description box below. I have a half a cup of really good baking cocoa. I have a half a teaspoon of salt. I have 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. I want to make sure everything's mixed well together. And then here we go. Makes it full throttle. I absolutely love this instant espresso powder. Yes, instant espresso. You can use it for baking. You can use it for making espresso coffee. And I want, let's just say a healthy tablespoon. It wanted to be happy. Mix that in real good. Oh, I wish y'all could smell this. This is a simple and easy biscotti. Now, it doesn't make a huge batch, but as long as you follow the ingredient list, you can double it, you can triple it, or you can just keep making the same batch over and over and over. Now, in this bowl, and you're going to need a hand mixer to do this, or whisk, either way. I have 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. To this, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of pure vanilla. Don't use imitation, y'all. That stuff's bad for you. And if you don't know why, then you need to do research on what fake vanilla is made of. Alright, now, like I said, 1/3 cup of melted butter that's been cooled. You want 2 room temp eggs. Large eggs at that. Alright, you can whisk or use a hand mixer. Either one, whichever makes you happy. Okay, now this next, what you're going to add to this butter egg mix, I just found it easier to measure them and then put them in a measuring cup so you could mix them together. I have a half a cup of light brown sugar. If you want to make it richer, you can use dark brown sugar. You'll just have more molasses and richness in your biscotti. And it's a quarter cup of regular cane sugar. And you're gonna gently add it in, slowly add it into the egg butter mix and keep mixing. I want to make sure I get all the sugar out. It's not a whole lot of sugar, not for the amount of cocoa in it, but it's going to be dark, so that's good. Okay, we're going to continue to whisk this till it's good a mix. Okay. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees. Okay, I'm going to set this over this way. We're going to play the Great Shuffle game. One last mix. And you want to make sure you get it as much to all of it out as possible. Ah, gently stir. You want to make sure it gets good and combined. Now, it's going to be a drier mix, so don't worry. It's not going to be loose. And you're going to work it with your hand. Now, here I have, now you can use dark chocolate. Oh, hold on a minute. I got dark. Alright, you can use dark chocolate. I'm using semi-sweet, whatever chocolate that you prefer. This is what makes it double chocolate. Alright, that's 3/4 of a cup of, and I'm using semi-sweet. Now, over here, if you're allergic to nuts, do not use nuts in your biscotti at all. I'm using roasted hazelnuts that I have crushed down to make them smaller pieces so they'll go further. You don't have to crush them. You could, if you don't have hazelnuts, you can use walnuts. You can use pecans. You can use almonds, or you don't have to use nuts at all. You can actually use dehydrated, snipped small or cut small. Dried cherries are amazing in this biscotti. You could do dried cranberries. You could do dried peaches if you wanted to, dried apples, whatever fruit you enjoy. Or you could just leave the nuts and dried fruit out and just replace the amount of nuts. Now, if you're going to use dried fruit, use the same amount that you would for the, what is it? Half a cup. You'd use a half a cup of dried fruit. Or if you wanted to, and just go chocolate berserk, don't use the nuts, don't use the dried fruit, and just use another half a cup of um, chocolate chips. It's up to you. You can change recipes around. It don't hurt a thing, y'all. You just want to make sure that you get it all incorporated very well. And here in a bit, I'm fixing to use my hands to make sure that it incorporates very well. Because it's going to turn into a dough. You're just going to have to work it a bit. I'm going to go grab my cookie sheet. I'll bring you right back. Okay, I got my parchment paper lined sheet. Now, it might be a little sticky, but don't worry, it's going to be fine. You want to make sure that you make this into a dough and everything is incorporated in it. Oh, I wish y'all could smell this. You can smell the espresso powder. You can smell the roasted hazelnuts. And as you notice, it's starting to form into, no y'all don't. Starting to form into a ball. It just takes a while. Because you don't want to leave none of this behind. You want to make sure that it all makes it into the dough. And see, it's coming together very nicely. Oh, this smells so good, y'all. One day we'll have smell vision. One day. But I'm not too sure I want it because I've seen some things and it's like, no, I don't really want to smell that. Okay. You want to keep working it. And like I said, it's going to be a little moist, a little tacky, but keep pushing anything that tries to escape back in to the dough. And I said, unfortunately, it doesn't make a big batch of dough, but the flavor is worth every minute of it. Now, you don't want it to be flat. You don't want it to be perfectly flat. Now, this, you could keep working it and make the long, skinny biscotti, the short, thin, little fat biscotti. But biscotti is not hard to make at all. It just takes time. And of course, biscotti means twice baked. So yes, we're going to twice bake this. Alright. Now it's going to spread just a little bit while it bakes, but it shouldn't spread a whole lot. You don't want it too thin, but you don't want it too thick. And this is a rich, indulgent, not too sweet biscotti, but it's delicious. Alright, now we're going to trade with any hazelnuts or chocolate chips that want to come out back in. And try to make sure that it's all even, pretty much the same size, thickness. Alright, you're going to leave it just like this. Now, we're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for the first baking for 25 minutes. Depends on your oven, how your oven bakes. You want to see this become shiny. It'll crack a little bit, that's fine, and it'll be poofy. So, let's get this in the oven, and I'll bring you back when it comes out. See you here after a while. Okay, it baked for 25 minutes. It has turned out beautiful. Now, do not worry, it will crack. Now, it's going to be soft because it's still warm. Going to let it cool for 30 minutes. And I'll bring you back as soon as that time is up. And that's when we're going to slice it. Look at that. And let me tell you, the aroma is to die for. The house is smelling amazing. Now, this is the first part of making biscotti. I'll bring you back for the second part. See you after a while. Okay, it's time, y'all. Gently take your, like I said, gentle. And we're going to slide it on to the cutting board. Now, reuse your parchment paper. If you want your biscotti to stay fairly soft, we're just going to slice it and you don't rebake it. If you want it shelf stable, you're going to slice it and then rebake it. Like I said, biscotti means twice baked. Alright, now, one other thing. I have already started me a pot of coffee. Yep. And I have the oven set at 300 degrees for the second baking. And you want to use, it's falling apart. You want to use a serrated knife. Gently timber. Now the ends, you're going to have trouble getting the set up right. Be careful, the chocolate chips are still warm. And like I said, you don't have to rebake them if you don't want them hard. You could leave them like this. Think I'm going to get a just a sharp edge. I'll be right back. I don't like how they're breaking up because of the serrated knife, so I'm just going to use a flat edge knife. Now, of course, any crumbs, save all your crumbs, because you know what? You can put that on top of ice cream. You can do a lot of things with crumbs. If you wanted to, you could sprinkle the dried crumbs on top of a cake as well. You want them about a half an inch to an inch thick. And the good thing about making your own biscotti, you know what's in it. Oh, it's so good. It's not overly sweet, which is a good thing. Oh, they're not overly sweet. That's great. Now, like I said, do not waste your crumbs. Put them on your cookie sheet and let them dry. Because you could snack on them like little snacks, or you could use them to top ice cream or sprinkle on top of cake, sprinkle on top of cheesecake. Alright, now, like I said, I have the oven set for 300 degrees. I'm going to put these back in for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. I'm shooting for 15, because the more you get them to dry out, the longer their shelf stable will be. And of course, they're a little more fragile than your store-bought ones, because there ain't a whole lot of fixatives and preservatives and everything. But let's head for the oven. I'll bring you back once they are done. Okay, they are out of the oven. Now, they are not completely dry. If you want to, you could dry them longer in your oven. You can tell they'll get a lighter brown. They're still fairly soft, but not over soft. Now, you could put them back in the oven to dry more, or you can be on the safe side and put them in a dehydrator to where it will completely dry them. Now, I have me a nice mug of coffee. Yes, like an elderly lady told me a long, long time ago that she likes her coffee just like her men, sweet and creamy. I have never forgotten that one. So now, what you'll do is you got to remember These are not like store-bought biscotti. They are not full of fillers and preservatives and things that will hold them together. At this moment, it's still kind of soft. And like I said, if you want to make their shelf life last longer, you can put them in the dehydrator. And that will keep it from burning unless you keep a close eye on it. Now, another thing you can do, and I'm not going to do it because they're plenty chocolate enough for me, while they're completely cooling, or once they are completely dried, you can make up chocolate, um, melt you some chocolate and dip them into it. Me, I'm just going to leave them like they are because these poor things don't stand a chance to last long whatsoever. Mm. Oh, that is so good. Mm. That is to die for. Sorry, y'all, I can't help it. I've been wanting to make these for a while. Mm. That is pure happiness. It has been too long since I've been able to make my own biscotti. That is delicious, y'all. And like I said, if you're not a coffee drinker, you could do this with hot chocolate. You don't have to do coffee. You can use it for hot chocolate as well. Yeah, it's been too long since I've used my recipe. These aren't going to stand a chance for long. They might last me a week if I'm lucky. But like I said, simple, easy, homemade. You can do it. You just have to believe in yourself. And like I said, these actually need to be dried more. And if I do, I'm going to use the dehydrator because I know it doesn't take much for things to burn in the oven. You can overdo it in the dehydrator too, but it won't be as bad as the oven. Homemade, delicious, and well, I know it's wrong. They're full of caffeine. Poor Junior can't have them, but that's okay. I'm fixing to get started on the second biscotti recipe, which is going to be for those who are tea drinkers. And I know for a fact he can have them. That batch will be all his. I'm going to sneak one, but only one. Everyone, I hope this video encourages you to make your own homemade biscotti. Like I said, if you don't want to use nuts, let me tell you, dehydrated cherries are amazing in this biscotti. Because think about it, chocolate and cherries. You can use cranberries. You can use, instead of using nuts, you can do double chocolate chips. Use the same, whatever you substitute for the nuts, use the same amount. If you use dehydrated fruit or freeze-dried fruit, make sure it's in smaller pieces. That way it gets dispersed through the whole batter. Or not batter, but dough. Simple, easy, homemade. I use hazelnuts. There's pecans, there's walnuts, there's almonds. You could use peanuts if you wanted to. Whatever you like. Hope you continue to find joy in these recipes and that it encourages you to start making your own. Get away from all those chemicals and crap. You don't need all those preservatives. The best preservative you can have is a little salt and drying these out. If you don't dry them out the second time, you're going to need to store them in the fridge or eat them within a week. These also, it's Christmas time, y'all. These make amazing gifts. Simple, easy, homemade. You can dip them in the chocolate or drizzle the chocolate on them. Just make sure they're completely dried and cooled before you do it. Everyone, continue to stock up your pantry with foods that will nourish and sustain you, and amazing treats for you, because you'll get tired after a while of plain food, and you'll need something sweet once in a while. Now, another good thing, these are not overly sweet at all. With the addition of the espresso powder, it's not really that sweet. It's wonderful, y'all. Continue to stock up on medicinals that will heal you. Protection of all kinds, and above all else, the bare essentials to survive on. And that means coffee and hot chocolate as well. Alright, like I said, the next video will post this afternoon for all you tea lovers. Y'all are going to enjoy this biscotti. Everyone, take care, stay safe and sound, and warm in this crazy cold weather. And may you each be blessed. Hoot, hoot. Love y'all. See you soon.